Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a story that's about so much more than just a game. You've got cricket's most intense rivalry, a nation grappling with profound grief, and a single match that's now just hanging in the balance. Okay, so let's get right into it. At the very heart of this whole thing is the India versus Pakistan match at the Asia Cup in Dubai. Now, you know this is usually one of the most hyped up sporting events on the entire planet, right? But this year, it's become a total flashpoint for a huge, intense national debate. Okay, now to really get a handle on the official side of things, we have to understand this one key term, multilateral tournament. And trust me, this distinction is absolutely crucial. See, this isn't just India deciding to play Pakistan in a one-on-one series. Because it's a tournament with a bunch of different nations, there are these shared rules, these obligations, and that just changes the entire game. All right, so keeping that official distinction in mind, let's pivot. Let's look at the other side of this story, the really powerful emotional reason behind all the rage. We've got to figure out what's really fueling these widespread calls for a total boycott of the match. So yeah, it really all boils down to one single, painful question, doesn't it? What is actually driving all this widespread and, deeply felt anger that we're seeing across the nation? And the answer? Well, it starts with a number, 26. This past April, 26 civilians were killed in the Pagham terror attack. That single, tragic event, that's the raw, painful trigger for this entire boycott movement. And from that tragedy, the arguments for boycotting become really clear. First, there's this feeling that playing the match so soon, it's just deeply insensitive to the victims and their families. Second, there's the argument that it kind of normalizes relations at a time when these huge terrorism concerns are still on the table, still unresolved. And finally, the point is made that playing completely ignores the super heightened political tensions after India's military response, which was named Operation Sindoor. And all of this, it brings us right to the core dilemma for the cricket board and the government. You've got this head-on collision between their official obligations and just massive public outrage. There's this one quote that's just been echoing all over Indian social media, and it perfectly captures the public mood. It's simply, some things are bigger than cricket. It's so simple, but man, is it powerful. It basically frames the entire emotional argument against playing this match. And this, right here, this is the core of the deadlock. On one side, you've got this huge public demand. Boycott the match. Honor the victims. Protest what happened. But on the other side, you've got the official obligation from the BCCI, the cricket board. They feel like their hands are tied, that they have to play because of those tournament rules and, the risk of some really serious consequences if they don't. Okay, so let's actually break down that official rationale. What's their argument? The case from the cricket board and the government, it's basically built on three pillars. First, like we talked about, is making it super clear that this is different from a bilateral one-on-one series with Pakistan, which, by the way, they already boycott. Second, it's all about avoiding diplomatic fallout and maybe even sanctions. And third, they're arguing that this is about protecting India's standing, its ability to host big tournaments down the road. It's a very pragmatic argument for sure, but it is deeply, deeply unpopular right now. But the big question is all this public outrage actually having any real-world effect? Well, let's take a look at the public pulse, because this movement is definitely shifting from just online hashtags to something much more tangible. Very real, very empty seats. I mean, the digital protest has been absolutely massive. You've got hashtags like hashtag boycott Indy v Pak and hashtag boycott Asia Cup just blowing up, trending everywhere. And people aren't just saying, don't watch the match. They're urging everyone to turn off their TVs and even boycott the brands that are sponsoring the whole thing. And believe me, this outrage is having a very real impact. Just think about it for a second. An India-Pakistan match, that is usually the hottest ticket in all of sports. The demand is just astronomical. But for this match? Well, reports are saying ticket sales are stunningly slow. We're talking large sections of the stadium in Dubai just sitting there unsold. It really looks like this boycott has some serious economic bite. Which brings us to the final piece of this whole complicated puzzle. That intersection of sport, politics, and the pitch itself. And you've got a whole team of professional athletes caught right in the middle of it all. I mean, can you just imagine the immense pressure on these players right now? They're basically being told by their management, hey, separate all of this national emotion, all this political turmoil from your job. Just block out the storm and focus only on what you do on the field. That is just an unbelievable challenge for anyone. So, this whole situation, it leaves all of us grappling with a really fundamental and, honestly, a very difficult question. When sport and statecraft collide with this much force, who really gets to draw the line? Who decides where the game ends and where politics begins?